Thank you, Gertie. I'm talking on and you couldn't hear me. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I forgot to remove my mute button. Is it better now? Oh man, I was just telling you what happened last week, but no one could hear me. Okay, good. Sound is back. Hello. Yeah, so really sorry about last week. I felt really bad because we were having technical difficulties and the technician wasn't here to help out. So unfortunately, I couldn't do the stream last week, as you know. And yeah, I felt really bad for leaving you guys hanging, which is an expression. Do you guys know what that means, to leave someone hanging? Hello, Ruben. Basically, I left you hanging, which means you had questions like, are we doing the stream? And I could not answer your questions. So you were left hanging without answers. Yeah, kind of like making someone wait. So yeah, I was really sorry that we all wasted some of our time, but it looked like you had a nice conversation going in the chat, at least. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. Everything's going well with this chat and this stream this week. So we should be back in action, okay? So thanks for coming back this week. We're gonna do what we were supposed to do last week. And I'm just looking through the chat, seeing who's all here. Gertie, hello. Lolly, hello. Rehab, Ahmed, hello. Twix Blue, hey. Ali's here, good. Malky, hello. Nilofer, Percy, Benedicto, Kukusha. Right on. I'm seeing lots of new names and some familiar names. So Yassine, Galen, Marcelo, right on. I hope you guys are doing well. So I'm going to change over the screen. Okay, here we go. And hi, Jacqueline. Yes, Gertie. I'm so sorry for that. That was awful. I couldn't tell you what was going on. I felt really bad, but anyways. Nothing you can do when the technology fails, right? But I'm happy to be back. So let's go ahead and get started. The week before last, we talked about first conditional, right? So first conditional where you have, an if clause or a time clause, and you have a result clause, which is a will and a base verb, or can and a base verb. Sometimes may or might and a base verb, okay? So we have a condition. We have a condition and a result based on that condition. And we talked about first conditional, it's, for like real situations, realistic situations and possibilities. So today we're going to get into the second conditional, okay? So the second conditional is unreal, impossible, or simply highly unlikely situations. We also use second conditional for opposite of the truth. It can be a little confusing if you're not a native speaker, but it's good to practice it and to try and use it. And when you hear it, to understand the true meaning behind the second conditional. Okay, so we're going to get started. I have my document as well, so we'll be doing a lot of examples together. Okay, and as usual, a shout out to our partners in Mexico at CCPM and UTS. Nice to have you guys. Hopefully, some students in the chat there. Yeah, so feel free to participate, and I'll do my best to get to everyone's questions. All right. So, second conditional. Let me make this a little bigger. Whoops, a little smaller. There. That's good. Ruben from Colombia, right on. I have a few Colombian students in my classroom right now. Cool. Yeah, Gertie, that's right. That's a good word to use. Hypothetical situations. Yeah, hypothetically speaking. We use this a lot. This is a good tool to use to try to get to know somebody's true feelings, right? All right, so let's look at this first sentence here. Imagine some people are inside. Maybe they're getting bored. They look outside and it's raining, and the weather is bad. It's not looking nice. So, maybe one person wants to go outside, but the other person's like, no, I don't want to go outside. We would get soaked if we went outside, right? Let's stay home, okay? So as you can see, the form is a little bit different than first conditional, okay? So we have our contracted would and our base form, okay? What does soaked mean? Can anyone explain in the chat what soaked means? Anybody? You would get soaked if you went outside in the pouring rain. Very wet. Exactly, very wet, yeah. Absolutely drenched, okay? Drenched is another word for soaked. I'll put that in the chat. Drenched, okay. So, going over the form, we still have two clauses, just like the first conditional, okay? The if clause is in the past simple, okay? So you have to remember to change from present simple to past simple. And then instead of will or can, we are using would and could and a base verb, okay? Would or could. The difference between would and could, basically would is focusing on your intention, okay? What you would plan to do. Whereas could is more focused on ability. You would have the ability to do that, okay? You would be able to. So instead of saying would be able to, you can simply say could, okay? Let's look at some examples here. If I didn't have to work tonight, I would come with you to the party, okay? So if someone says this sentence to you, what is the reality? Okay, if they say this second conditional sentence to you, what is the reality? Okay, what can you understand if this is what someone says to you? If I didn't have to work tonight, I would come to the party with you. Any ideas what the reality is? That's good, Lolly. That's a good sentence for a second conditional, yeah. If they liked pizza, we could take them to an Italian restaurant. Okay? Again, what is the reality then? Jacqueline, good. She cannot go to the party. She has to go to work. Exactly. Good job, Rami. Don't forget, she has. Yeah. So that's the opposite of what she's saying, right? So second conditional is often used for the opposite of the truth. And you might wonder why. Why would you say that? Why not just say, I have to work, so I can't go to the party with you? Good question. I don't know the answer to that question. But yeah, many people like to speak in the second conditional. Okay? If they liked pizza, we could take them to an Italian restaurant. So what is the reality here? Do they like pizza or do they not like pizza? Good correction, Jacqueline. I'd missed that. Sorry. They obviously don't. Good. Perfect. They don't like pizza, so you can't take them to that restaurant. What about this one? I wouldn't do that if I were you. What's the meaning of that sentence? I wouldn't do that if I were you. What is the use of this sentence? I wouldn't do that if I were you. Don't do it. Exactly. It's, you could think of it as a suggestion or maybe more like advice or a warning, okay? In this particular sentence, it could be a little bit of a warning. It depends on somebody's voice, right? If they're like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, it sounds like a warning. But if they say, I wouldn't do that if I were you, it sounds like advice. Okay, so a lot of times the voice and stress, intonation has a lot of meaning as well. Okay, so going on to the document. So remembering, just like the first conditional, the second conditional is made up of the two clauses. Okay. Now let's get some of your examples of second conditional. Okay. What are some of your examples that I can put on our document? Think about, really crazy, imaginary, unreal situations. For example, if I had 5 arms, I'd be a lot more productive. That's a silly sentence, I don't have 5 arms, I have 2. But it's second conditional, so there are no rules. It can be a more realistic situation, but just very unlikely. So I'll wait for you guys to think of a few examples, and I'll put them in the chat. What are some of your good examples? You can think of opposite of the truth. English learning. Nice. If I had money, comma, I would buy you a car. Right on. Don't forget your comma if you're starting with the if clause. Same comma rule as first conditional. Well, thank you, Lolly. If I had a lot of money, don't forget I would buy you a gift. Whoops. I would buy you a gift. Me too. Another one. Good. If I didn't work tomorrow, I would go to the beach. And we say get a tan. If you're going to say take the sun, we would say take in the sun. But some more common expressions, if I didn't work tomorrow, I would go to the beach and sunbathe, you could say. Or you could say soak up the sun is an expression that we use, to soak up the sun. Okay. Ruben, right on. If I had money, I would hire Julia as a personal teacher, you can say, instead of as a personal teacher. Gertie, if I were a beautiful woman, I would be a model. I'm sure you are a beautiful woman. Okay. Good. So good examples, good examples. We don't need to put too many on the chat or on the document there. That looks about good. V. Gates. I'm good, Elimu. Welcome. I hope you are good too. How are you? If I were you, I wouldn't do that. Good, Lolly. Very common to use second conditional if you are, if you are giving advice like that, if I were you. So let me just go back to Smrt. Okay, we're going to go into Smrt again and talk about the use a little bit more in more details. Okay, it's not so hard to understand and memorize the form of second conditional. That's not hard at all. If, past simple, comma, would or could, and a base verb. But it's a little more difficult to start to use it naturally and in the right situations, okay? Understanding what people truly mean by speaking hypothetically. So let's go over that. Again, unreal situations. So that would be like impossible, like if I were 10 feet tall, I would play professional basketball. I'm not 10 feet tall. That's maybe not impossible, but I think impossible to be that tall as a woman. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, other unreal situations. If I could fly, I would fly home to Toronto all the time. Okay, I can't fly, that's impossible. But if we're going for unlikely situations, then it can be real, it can be possible, just totally unlikely in that time. Okay, so for example, if I were the mayor of Vancouver, I would lower housing prices. It's not impossible that I become mayor, but it's very unlikely. I'm not very political, actively political, so very unlikely. I would definitely use second conditional, okay? A good one, Lolly. If I were retired, I could travel a lot. That's another good example of something that is possible, but unlikely in your situation. And we'll get to that, Jacqueline, but the past of the be verb with second conditional, we use were. Yeah, we'll get to that. So this little key here, I want you guys to take notice of that. It's important to understand that what conditional a speaker uses, it gives information about their opinion, okay? If they use first conditional, then they think that the situation is possible, likely to happen, and yeah, they think it's going to happen perhaps, all right? So first conditional. But if another speaker uses second conditional, they have a different opinion, right? They don't think what they're saying is going to happen, okay? So it's important to understand that difference when you're listening to people. Nanad, if I were you, I would eat cake every day. Good example. Farah, if I pass the test, I will get my certificate. That's a first conditional sentence, okay? If you want to make that second conditional, your if clause must be past simple. If I passed ed, if I passed the test, I would get my certificate, okay? Galen, if I had, you could say if I owned the Apple company, I would not remove the home button. Nice. If I owned the Apple company, you would not remove the home button. Nice. If I saw her tomorrow, I would speak to her. Good, Alamu. That means you don't think you're going to see her. Gertie, if I were a doctor, don't forget I would relieve your pain. Good sentence. Yeah, okay, so first conditional. If I see that movie, I'll cry. Okay, so this means that this speaker thinks that the action C is possible, likely, you know, it can happen. Same thing, if I saw that movie, I would cry. This means the speaker has no intention of seeing this movie, okay? So let's go to my document and just remind you here, okay, let me just do this. So the conditional that a speaker chooses to use often gives important information about their opinion. So again, first conditional, speaker believes what they're saying is a possibility. Second conditional, speaker believes that what they're saying is not a possibility. Okay? Let's look at some more examples. Rami, if I knew how to swim, I would probably be the next Michael Phelps. Nice, that's a good example. Learning, if I were an actor, I would be on TV. Good. So, Nanad, if your if clause is negative, it's past simple, so you need to use didn't, okay? If you're getting into like the third conditional with hadn't, you know, when you're talking about the unreal past. If I hadn't had a headache, I would not have taken an Advil, okay? But in this case, you should say, if I didn't have a headache, I would not take an Advil, okay? So, yeah, second conditional about the you know, present or future. look at these examples. If we leave now, we will be at the airport on time. Okay, so if I say that, then it is possible to leave now. So let's go so that we're on time. Okay, so it's first conditional, real possibility. But if I say, if we left now, we would be at the airport on time. So this is just talking about what's not possible. So it's not possible to leave now, so we won't be on time. Okay? So that little blurb here is about just paying attention to the conditional that a person speaks in, because it does take a lot, does give a lot about their opinion. Okay? Yeah, so Nanad, that's good. If I didn't have a headache, don't forget article a. If I didn't have a headache, I would not take an Advil. Yeah, you need your articles here, and I'll put your example here so you can see it. If I didn't have a headache, I wouldn't take an Advil. Good. Lolly, if I left now, my boss could be very angry. If you're talking about emotion, usually we use would instead of could. Okay? If I left now, my boss would be very angry, because we're talking kind of about emotion, not really ability, right? Raphael, if it weren't so hot here, I would go shopping later. Good sentence, so it is very hot there. If people didn't lose confidence in vaccines, measles would not occur again. Good sentence, Jacqueline. Yeah. Rodrigo, if I were a kind of guy, right, I wouldn't be a bogan. I'm not quite sure if I understand that sentence. Sorry. Maybe you can elaborate on that. Give me a little more details. But yeah, okay. So let's get to that past of the be verb, okay? If you're wondering why you use was instead of were. And just, sorry, before that, quick note that second conditional, again, used for present and future meanings, okay? Look at some examples. If he had a brother, he would have someone to play with. Present. That means he doesn't have a brother, so he has no one to play with. If I went to France with you tomorrow, I would have a wonderful time. Future. That means I'm not going to France with you, so I won't have a great time. She would love this food if she were here with us. Present. That means she is not here with us. She is not loving this food. She would love... Oh, another similar example. She would love the food if she came to the restaurant with us tonight. So this is more focused on the future. Okay, that means she is not going to the restaurant. So, hi Ribbongot, welcome. Gertie, if I did not have a lot of homework, I would go to the cinema. Good sentence. Galen, if I were from the USA, comma, I wouldn't, okay, because it's not your if clause, so I wouldn't need to learn English. Yeah. All right, so continuing on, taking a look. So when we use second conditional, the past tense of be is were, no matter the subject, okay? In less formal English, hello Kamal, welcome. In less formal English, some people say was, but a lot of people think that it sounds better to use were, okay? So going back to the document, with the verb to be, we use if, with I, he, she, it, with were instead of was, okay? The reason being, it's just because the sentence is in the subjunctive mood, right, to explore a hypothetical situation. So it's hypothetically speaking. That's why we use were instead of was, okay? So some examples: if I were not in debt, I would quit my job. What does it mean to be in debt? Can anyone explain what it means to be in debt? It's okay, Rodrigo. It's a little bit of a, it's kind of like a grammarian debate. Some people disagree with this. Some people use, if she was here, she would have a great time. If he was taller, he could be on the team. I'm not going to argue one way or the other, but I think were does sound a little bit better personally. Yeah. But good, yeah, if you are in debt, you owe money to somebody. Yeah, you owe money to somebody. And yeah, maybe you have overdue bills. You can owe the bank, you can owe a friend. It doesn't matter who you owe the money to, but you owe the money. If he were taller, he would make the team. So we often contract, okay? Sometimes it's very difficult to hear the D. If he were taller, he'd make the team. It's so quick, so it's really hard to hear, but you have to take the whole situation to kind of understand that it is second conditional. So you do have the would, okay? Now, remember that if I were you, I would is a way to give advice, okay? So now some of your examples with the be verb. Let's hear some of your examples with the be verb. That's fair, Rodrigo, for sure. If I were in your shoes. Good job, Pedro. Yeah, that's a good one to put on our chat. Document. If I were in your shoes, what would you do? If I were in your shoes, yeah, Khalil, it's a debate. You know, a lot of grammar teachers teach if I were, if she were, if he were. Okay, so I think it's best to just kind of think of it as were. If I were in your shoes is about if I were you. I choose. If I were in your shoes, I would. Well, we need more context, don't we? Imagine somebody has a problem. They need advice, so they're asking, okay, this is the problem. My roommate never cleans up the kitchen after she uses it. What should I do? If I were in your shoes, I would talk to her and tell her how you're feeling, for example. Let me see in the chat. Alumu, if I were a teacher, I would help you teach English. Base verb. I would help you teach English. That would be nice to have a helper. Hypothetical situation, Khalil, means something that's not real. Okay, just talking about not reality. Okay, opposite of reality. A lot of people like to speak hypothetically to see how people would react to certain things. Like, you know, what would you say if I didn't come to your birthday party next weekend? You know, it's second conditional. So you're not saying that you're not going to come. You're just kind of wondering what their reaction would be. Okay, Lolly, let's see. If I were in your shoes, I'd polish them. Rodrigo, that's a funny example. You're speaking literally then. And you should say them. If I were in your shoes, I'd polish them. If, Lolly's example, if I were kinder, I would help you. But you're bad. That's a good example. Being honest. Jacqueline, if I were you, I would study this lesson I would maybe instead of hard, you could use the adverb, I would study this lesson carefully. It could be useful. If you're going to continue speaking hypothetically, we would use could. Okay. If I were an eye surgeon, I could we could say I could perform a surgery on your myopia. Interesting. I don't know what that part of the eye is. Khalil, how do you feel or how are you feeling? Both are fine for that, if that's your question. How do you feel? How are you feeling? Those are both okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Komal, if I were you, I would not face difficulties in English. That's true. Well, sometimes I face difficulties. Depends. But good sentence. Galen, if I were Julia, I could make a stream to learn English every day. Yeah, or to teach English every day. That's true. There are only so many hours in the day, though. Pablo, if I were you, I would make dinner. Yeah, we don't have to say the dinner. You can just say I would make dinner. If I were you, I would study at Facebook. Good, yeah. If I were Canadian, I would vote for Justin Trudeau. For Justin Trudeau. All right, good stuff, you guys. So let me go back to Smrt and look at these examples. If I were you, I would buy a nicer present for your mother. Another way of giving advice. He would laugh if he were here. Okay, but he's not here. She wouldn't understand if she were here. Okay, but she's not there. So let's go over second conditional, talking about the opposite of the truth, specifically opposite of the truth. I mean, all of it you can think of that way, but this is often, you have to understand somebody's truth by going to the opposite of what they actually say, okay? So it can be a bit difficult because you can't take the words that they're using as the truth. You have to go to the opposite, okay? So a lot of times we use second conditional to say no to people. It's a little bit of a less direct way to say no, okay? Let's maybe stay away from politics because that can get a little bit messy, can't it, when we have a lot of different people. So look at this dialogue. Can you help me move this weekend? This is a request, right? You want somebody to do something for you. The next speaker, I would help you if I had time. So in other words, they are saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you, right? Next one, wow, I love that car. I would buy it if I had money. So this is just a way of saying the opposite of the truth, okay? So this means I will not buy it because I don't have the money, okay? So let's go ahead and go to the next one. I would be really lonely if I didn't have my friends. Okay, so this is the opposite of the truth. This means you have a lot of friends, so you are not lonely. Back to the document. We're going to come up with our own examples. Okay, so opposite of the truth or to say no. Okay, so look at some examples here. And I want you guys to just tell me what the reality is. So analyzing the sentence. If I say to you guys, if my friend were less shy, he would make new friends easily. What is the reality here? I want you guys to understand the reality and let me know so I can put it on the document. Yeah, Rodriguez, those are definitely ways to soften the no. It's not so direct no. It's, you know, a lot softer for sure. If my friend were less shy, he would make new friends easily. So what is the reality of this situation? I'll just give you guys a moment and then put it in the chat. Good. He is very shy and, okay, he is very shy and he can't make new friends easily, okay? So it's basically the opposite. Less shy, he is very shy. He would make friends easily, he can't make friends easily. Let's go to this one. If I didn't have to work, I could go on the trip. Yeah, Kamal, that's a good way of saying shy as well. He is reserved. Yeah. He doesn't have more friends. Yeah. What about this? If I didn't have to work, I could go on the trip. What's the reality then if I'm saying this to my friend? Yep. I have to work, comma. So I can't, right? So I can't go on the trip. Yeah. We can use and or we can use so for result. Okay, next one. If Tina ate meat, she'd definitely be here with us. So what's the reality of this situation? Rodrigo, you work, yeah, I guess you could understand it that way. Even if I had money, I would never lend you a penny. That's not soft, for sure. I guess it all depends the second conditional sentence that you use. That's true. That's very true. Good point. Tina doesn't eat meat. Good. Yeah. Tina doesn't eat meat. Okay. And she is not there with them. You can change the pronouns. Yeah, Tina is a vegetarian. Okay, next one. Lena would come to the amusement park if she weren't afraid of heights. What's the reality of this sentence? Lena would come to the amusement park if she weren't afraid of heights. Remember, if you're starting with your would clause, there is no comma before your if clause. Yep, good. She isn't coming because she won't be at the amusement park. Exactly. Because she is afraid of heights. Does everyone know what that means? It's a very common fear to be afraid of heights. Very common fear. Are any of you afraid of heights? Lena is fearful of heights, yes. So she does not like being in high places. Alamu, you are also afraid of heights? Yeah. Very common fear. People who do not like being high in the air or in a high place. Afraid of the darkness is another common fear. Acrophobia, yeah. Okay, guys, and the next one we were talking about saying no with the second conditional. So let's practice with that. Let's do some nice examples. How could you guys say no to these questions? We're starting one at a time. So if I ask you guys, do you like swimming? Just imagine giving a no answer. Pedro, maybe you should go skydiving. It sounds like your subconscious wants you to do that. I've done it before. It's really fun. Rodrigo, you like being in high places? That's cool. I do too. I'm not afraid of heights. Yeah. But I only like it if it's safe. Safe enough. Okay, do you like swimming? How can you say no to this question? But Pedro, it was great. Skydiving was super fun. I did it tandem, so I had a professional behind me doing everything that needed to be done. So I just enjoyed the ride, and it was really fun. I recommend it. Okay, so good. I'm saying Nanad. If I knew how to swim. So instead of saying I would go to the pool, if we're maybe we could just say I'd like swimming. If I knew how to swim, I'd like swimming. Nawar, that's all right. Welcome. Gertie, if I knew how to swim, I would like swimming. Yeah. And you're right. Sometimes people don't always say the would clause, like they just say the if clause like you did. Do you like swimming? If I knew how to swim, I'd like it. Sometimes we don't say all of it. Usually we do, but Galen, there's a funny one. If I were a duck, I'd like swimming. Nice. Good example. And one more, saying no to do you like swimming? If I knew how to swim, I would never travel by boat. Okay, well that means that you travel by boat, right? I guess it doesn't really say no to the question if you like it or not. But you could change yours a little bit. If I liked swimming, I would never travel by boat. So there, that means no, I don't like swimming. Okay. Next question. Can you guys answer no to the next question? Is Nick coming to the party? How could you answer that? An regular everyday question. Is Nick coming to the party? Pedro, if I were a mermaid, I would chase swimmers and eat them. Oh my gosh, that's scary. Then I would never be swimming. But it's good. It's good to do, crazy, silly examples like that because it's second conditional, so. Komal, good sentence. If I weren't afraid of water, I would like swimming. Good sentence. If he did not have a lot of work. Okay, so is Nick coming to the party? If he didn't have a lot of work to do, we can say he would come. Yeah. You could use continuous as well. He would be coming. And another. Good, Komal and Nanad. If Nick didn't catch the flu, he would be at the party. Good. No, E. Why did I put E on that? Next was if Nick weren't so busy in the office, he would come. Good. if Nick were coming, yeah, so you're doing a mixed conditional there, Pedro. If Nick were coming, he would have let us know already. Kind of mixing different times. Okay, past in the future in the past. But we won't get into the mixed conditionals yet because it's a bit, we don't want to get too overloaded. Next question, is your mom coming to visit you? How can you make a negative answer? Is your mom coming to visit you? No, that's okay. Is your mom coming to visit you? Any options to say no? There's 3 more. Is your mom coming to visit you? How can you say no with second conditional? Good. If the weather were good, she would come to visit me, we'll say, imagining 2 people talking. If the weather were, yeah, so I mean, you said if the weather was good. It's not wrong. I'm just so used to using were. She would come to visit me. Good, Nanad. If my mom had a visa, she'd come visit me. Yeah, sometimes people delete the 2. They drop the 2 on that one. Lolly, good one. If my mom weren't so busy, she would come visit me. Reverend God, if I were your mom, I would rather stay home. Yeah. See, they're asking us to put 2, but like I said, maybe more in speaking, people delete the 2. If she had money for the ticket, she would come visit me. Good. Yeah. You could even say, like, if my mom were coming to visit me, oops, my house would be much cleaner. All right. Oh, Jacqueline, if my mom did not visit me, I would not clean my apartment. If my mom didn't visit me, I wouldn't clean my apartment. So that means that she is visiting you, right? So that means that your mom does visit you and you do clean your apartment. Yeah. Okay, next one. What if someone asks, can you lend us some money? Just nice answers, please. Can you lend us some money? How can you say no? Can you lend us some money? Gertie, that's good. My mom would visit me if my apartment were bigger. Good, Jessica. If I weren't, yeah, covered in debts. You can say covered in debts. That's a good expression, definitely. If I weren't covered in debt, you can count it too. Or we also say if I weren't swimming in debt. That's another expression. If I weren't swimming in debt, I would lend you some money. Good. If I had a lot of money, I would lend you money. Good, Lolly. If I had enough money, I would lend you an amount of money. Okay, if I didn't buy a TV, I could, in this case, Nanad, you could use could. If I didn't just buy a new TV, I could lend you, people often say some money. Kamal, if I weren't start to build my house, I would like to give you money. Nice, Kamal. So so you can use didn't with the if clause. If I didn't start to build my house, I would like to give, well, we're sending lend. We'll pay you back. I would like to lend you money. Okay. If my friend asked me for money, I would bite him. Yeah, I'm not really one for borrowing either or lending, but hey, these are just examples. Lolly, if I didn't gamble in Las Vegas, I could lend you some money. Good one. If I had some, I could lend it to you, Gertie, we would say. Okay, and then last one, guys. Do you have any paper? How can you say no for that? Do you have any paper is the question. People tend not to pay you back. Yeah, it's right, Pedro. Sometimes, unfortunately, that happens, doesn't it? People forget, and then it's awkward to remind them. Yeah, sometimes it's a sticky situation. Yes, that was my sarcasm, Gertie. Also, when you use these, it's the opposite of what you're saying, right? So Galen, don't forget past simple. If you gave me the last debt, I could lend you some money. Yeah, and maybe people often say, if you paid me back. If you paid me back from your last debt, I could lend you some money. How could you answer no to do you have any paper? If I didn't have a test today, I would have paper. Yeah. That works for sure. I was just trying to understand that one. If I didn't have a test today, I would have paper. That means I have a test today, so I don't have paper. Right, that makes sense because you don't need paper to write a test. Yeah, okay, good. Good, Lolly, if I didn't leave my paper at home, we'd say I'd give you some instead of I could show it. If I didn't leave my paper at home, I'd give you some. If I had paper, why wouldn't I lend you some? So I don't know about this question, Pedro. If Amazon delivered parcels, I would give you some paper. Well, not everyone doesn't pay back their debts, eh? Some people do. Some people always pay back what they owe. We can't give up on humanity. Can anyone answer another question with no? Okay, Galen. I could print money. I could print money if I had, past simple, if I had paper. So that means no. All right, guys, so we have that's the last for the document. We still have 5 minutes though, so let me go back to Smrt. And we're gonna open the exercise a little bit. And gonna skip this one. And we're gonna do this one, okay? So just a couple. We've got a few minutes left. We've got 5 minutes left. So I want you guys to change these sentences to the second conditional, keep a similar meaning. Okay, so again, opposite of the truth. Let's start with this one. See if you guys can change that over. Can you see it okay? Maybe here, that's better. So let me know what I should write. Maybe we'll have time for like 2 or 3 examples. They won't like that golf course because it's so busy. So how can we say this in the second conditional? If I had extra paper, I would prefer to save it for my origami hobby. I love origami. It's great for the finger muscles. A, can you guys switch this sentence over to second conditional, keeping the same meaning? I'll just give you guys a moment and wait. Remember, you have to change to the opposite. If you see negative, you should use would in the positive. Is so busy, you should make it negative, the if clause. Noah, if that golf course, yeah, you said wasn't, that's okay. I'm going to use weren't because that's what I'm used to. If that golf course weren't so busy, comma, they would like it. Good. If we're keeping the exact same meaning, that's what it would be. Yeah, if it weren't so busy, they would like that golf course. That's good Ing learning. Generally, we would change and put golf course in the first clause and put it in the second clause. Okay, so yeah, if we're going to keep the same meaning of the first sentence, this is the option. How about this one? If it wasn't so busy, they would like that golf course. Good job, Hakeem. Komal, your grammar is good, but you're changing the meaning a little bit because you're changing it from busy to difficult. Saeed, no, last week there was a problem. Very sorry about that. But I'm back this week. Yeah. Pedro, I don't know because I'm not you. If I were you, I would know. Good. I would know if I were you. It doesn't matter which order of the clauses you say, but remember the comma rule. Okay? Be careful at lemu because you can't say let you know because that's a totally different meaning than I would know. If you say I would let you know, it means I would tell you. Okay, let's do one more. She is pregnant, so that shirt will not fit her. How can you say this in second conditional? She is pregnant, so that shirt will not fit her. Bekola, if I were you, I would know. Would be the same meaning as the last one, B. But for C, she is pregnant, so that shirt will not fit her. Komal, if she weren't pregnant, good, that shirt would fit her. Yeah, be careful, Komal. Instead of will, you want would. That shirt would fit her if she weren't pregnant. Good. All right. Awesome. Good. So we've gone to 4 o'clock, so we're going to wrap it up now. And just to let you guys know, I am going to be away next week. Okay, I'm going on a vacation to Panama, so I'll be away just next week. It's a short vacation, 1 week away, and I will be back the following week. So the next stream with me is going to be November 19th. Okay, I'll be back the week after next. So thank you guys for coming today. I hope you enjoy the next 2 weeks. The next week, sorry. I'll be back after that. Thank you for the warning, Gertie. Yeah, I definitely will take that into account. But yeah, thanks guys. Hope you have a good week, and I'll catch you back here November 19th. All right. So try to use the second conditional in your everyday life. And that was the last stream on the conditionals for me for now. When I come back, we're going to be talking about modals of certainty. Okay? So, thank you, Alamu. Thank you, everyone. Have a good week. We'll see you next time. Ciao. Oh, and sorry, before I go, I'll put the document that we did in the chat. Okay? All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.